It's review time! Yo, what's up everyone? Treyman1 here. Welcome back to another Pokemon. Aim to be a Pokemon Master anime review. I finally did it right without no stuttering. Today we will be reviewing episode 3. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Unlike a lot of people, I actually really been enjoying Aim to be a Pokemon Master so far, but I gotta say, this episode was definitely a flop. First off, I like that we actually got a location for this episode. We are in the Galar region. We're in Stormside Town. We go to the Glenwood Tangle, and Cilan mentions, the Galarian Darmanitan treat. So it's confirmed we are in the Galar region. And Brock has given up on being a Pokemon doctor to, I guess, cook for this lady, which I know a lot of people have an issue with, but I think that gets resolved later on, and I'll mention that when we get to that point. I do gotta admit, it's kind of convenient how Brock and Cilan are both here at the same time. Now, yes, they do mention we met in the Johto region and we watched your battle together. So maybe that means that they were in Galar the whole time and, just happened to be in the same area. I really don't know. But besides that, Cilan finally returns and he meets Misty for the first time. They actually mentioned the lore and everything. So that's cool how last episode referenced who's coming in this episode. And Brock's heartbroken. They try to go cheer him up, but Hatterene, I like this episode because it shows off kind of like a classic Pokemon episode where they meet a new Pokemon and we get to learn about it. We didn't really get to learn about a lot of Galar Pokemon in the Journeys to anime because it wasn't a Galar focused series. So this episode was cool to show off Hatterene's personality. But this is where the issues kind of come in for me. The rest of this episode is just kind of Hatterene playing you love me not, you love me not with Brock, while Ash, Cilan, and Misty try and free our boy, which this isn't a bad episode in my opinion. It's just for Ash's final series, this doesn't really, do anything for me. I get, yes, it's the reintroduction of Brock as he is going to be a traveling companion. But I think this episode should have took a more focus on Brock than Cilan. I get, Cilan does need an episode too. It's hard. I'm glad they shared an episode, but maybe, I feel like Brock could have did a bit more because when Brock joins them, he's like, oh, I see I got some more growing to do. So I'm going to travel with you guys. I really wish Brock kind of had a better realization of what am I doing? I need to stay on top of my game and be a doctor. He kind of has that moment when the Hatterene, the pre-evolution, I forgot his name, gets hurt and he goes into action and helps it out. So maybe that was his cue of, yeah, let me stick to my goal. But they didn't really emphasize that. So that's kind of where the issue comes in. As for Cilan, he doesn't really have any growth in this episode, but he does come back and does his usual things. Detective time, tasting time, things like that. And I can't even lie. Back in the Black and White series, I was not a fan of Cilan. I actually liked Iris a lot more than Cilan. But, seeing him back here, it's cool to see him again. I don't really have an issue with Cilan's character. I love how Misty's like, oh, he's probably annoying because that's the thing that did get on my nerves with Cilan. We'd be in the middle of like one of the tournaments or a big battle, and then Cilan's like, it's tasting time, and takes away from the battle, man. I used to hate when that used to happen. But here, it plays along pretty nice, and I'm glad to see Cilan again. Another downfall on this episode is that we don't see Ash's reserved Pokemon. Because if they were going to do 4 per episode, Ash currently has 44 Pokemon on hand. So they could have worked out perfectly for the 11 episodes, but this episode doesn't have any reserves. So what's going to happen to those last 4? Are they just not going to appear, or are they just going to have to like share an episode? I'm not too sure. They could have really fit them in, easily with the Steelix and Hatterene, try to fight them out just real quick if they had to. But I guess, since they had to focus on Cilan as well, it would have been too much for one episode. And Brock. My overall rating for this episode is a solid 5 out of 10. Like, I get it. These episodes are focusing on Ash being a Pokemon Master. They're focusing on the bonds that he's creating with Pokemon. Like the Hatterene pre-evolution. I'm pretty sure each episode, like the Beartic, things like that, they're going to show him helping Pokemon. And then at the end, when Gary asks, are you a Pokemon Master? They'll reflect on all these moments. I just wish there was a bit more, especially because Brock is going to be a companion for this series. Maybe he'll get more development in episodes throughout the series, but it's not looking likely with only 11 episodes to spare. But I gotta say, I do like the cameos that we got in this episode, at like the Subway Brothers, and Latias returned again, which means Ash will more than likely catch Latias by the end of the series. But I am super excited for next week. It means Yamaru and Incineroar, let's go! With that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And in the comment section down below, let me know what you all thought of this episode and what are your thoughts on this series as of right now. I love to hear. Treyman1, peace out.